what sort of things does your agency do for you?
When you sign to an agency, you can expect less emails, less admin, because all I have to do is create the content and someone else does the boring stuff for me, and it's the best thing in the world. Welcome to Meet the Creators with Handled. I'm Zaynah, also known as Zaynah's Bakes.
Where did the name Zaynah's Bakes come from?
I don't think I've ever been asked that question. I started Zaynah's Bakes when I was like 16, and initially it was a school project and a cupcake business. So Zaynah's Bakes, because Zaynah Bakes was taken.
So the name's just stuck since?
The name just stuck, I never changed it.
And how did you get into food content creation? What made you want to become a food content creator?
Well, I've always been into food, first of all. Food was my first love, cooking was my first love. When I was younger, I just used to watch loads of cooking shows. I spent a lot of time with my mum in the kitchen, so I've always loved cooking. And before I became a full-time content creator, I actually worked in tech for 5 years, so I specialised in business marketing and creative strategy. So I was working at companies like Facebook, TikTok and Instagram, and while I was there, I was developing my marketing and creative knowledge. And also just through like being a young person and growing up with tech, you kind of become an expert in social media anyway. So it was a combination of my passion for cooking, my experience working in marketing, and just my expertise in social media.
For you, what was the moment where it switched from being this fun hobby that you loved to something that you actually thought, oh, I can make money from this, or I can begin working with brands? What was that moment for you?
The moment I realised content creation was more than just a hobby and becoming a full-time job was when my Ramadan recipe series was taking off on TikTok and Instagram, and I started to get brand deal requests. And that's when I reached out to Fadzi of Handled Agency, and this was actually before Handled was even a thing. But I was like, Fadzi, I need you to be my agent because all these brands are messaging me and I don't know how to negotiate and blah blah blah. And then I just quit my job and took the leap. It was very serendipitous. It was like everything was kind of aligning. I'd been working in my job for a couple of years and I was kind of getting not bored, but I needed a new challenge and my content was taking off, so it felt like the right moment to just take the leap.
And how did that feel, like when you finally took the leap and you weren't working in the tech industry anymore and you actually became a full-time creator?
When I took the leap and left my job and became a full-time content creator, it was of course very scary at first, but I also had some comfort in my mind knowing that this is the right thing to do because it was my passion. And in the past, in my career, I've always taken big risks and it's always paid off, so I just felt like this is another one of those risks that will pay off if I put all of my energy into it. And yeah, for a while it was kind of scary because you lose the stability of a 9-to-5 job. You know, you don't have a regular income, you don't have corporate benefits or whatever, but what you do gain is flexibility and freedom and doing a job that doesn't feel like a job because it's your true passion.
And can you talk to us a bit about your journey to now becoming a published cookbook author? How did that start? Where did the idea come from? And how is that going for you?
So the process of getting a book deal was kind of crazy, and it happened at the end of the Ramadan momentum. We got an email from Sile, who is now my literary agent, saying we would love to write a cookbook for Ramadan recipes because there's none like it at the moment. And writing a cookbook has always been a dream of mine, but it felt like a very distant dream. So the process, we created a book proposal with Sile, and she went and pitched that to all of the major publishers. I think there was about 15 to 20 of them. And then they come back to us with their interest, and then there's basically rounds of bidding where the publishers who we like, so there was 4 of them, will give us their bids. And once we have all of our bids in, we weigh out the pros and cons and decide which publisher we want to go with. Then the process begins.
What was the creative process of you then creating these recipes? Was there a certain amount of recipes that you had to create? What was that like?
The creative process of writing the book starts with getting all of the recipes together. I already had about 30 to 40 recipes written just in my notes app. Because I write recipes as I cook anyway. So I had to write about 100 recipes and I had 6 months to write 100 recipes. And then at the end of that, we cut down about 10 recipes, so we were left with 90-something recipes. Then I submit my manuscript and the editors go and fix up all of my English. Then the second part of the creative process is the photo shoot, which takes place across 2 weeks, and there's a team of chefs, food stylists and photographers, and they test all my recipes and cook them. They do about 10 recipes a day, and they get cooked, styled, shot, and then we eat them, and then we repeat for about 2 weeks. And then it goes away into the design process, which is the third stage, and they create the page layouts, the cover. The final stage is just the finishing touches, so like writing my dedications, my thanks, and putting the final book together.
How did you come up with the name Desified, and can you tell us what it means?
So the name Desified kind of became a slogan for my content and my recipes over time. A lot of the food that I cook is Desified, so I'm Pakistani, my background is Pakistani, and we grew up eating a lot of Pakistani food, but as we grew up we would Desify regular food, and to Desify basically means to add a South Asian twist or to spice up your food using different South Asian elements and flavours. Some of the recipes that I post online are Desified, for example spaghetti keema instead of spaghetti bolognese, or chicken tikka burger instead of a regular chicken burger, and it just felt like common sense that of course the book should be called Desified, because that's what I do, that's who I am. Desified is officially out and available in stores in February next year, right before Ramadan.
So what does a typical day or week in your life look like as a full-time content creator?
There is no typical day in the life as a full-time content creator. It's a freelance job, so you could go like a month without any work or brand deals, and then you could have a work where you just have like 2 brand deals a week, so I'm cooking and editing and uploading content all the time. Sometimes we get to go to cool events. One thing that is consistent is that I get to go to restaurants all the time, and that's probably one of my favourite things because I love to eat food.
Nice. So every day is different. Your journey is quite unique in the sense that when you started working with brands, you signed onto a talent agency straight away. Mm. So what's it like? Can you explain to other creators who may be curious about having management, what it's like, and at what stage would you recommend that other creators get management?
I think my journey to becoming a full-time content creator is kind of unique because I signed to an agency whilst I was still working my 9-to-5 job. So I was actually still working at TikTok whilst I was becoming a TikTok content creator full-time. So I had experience on the back end, but now all of a sudden I was the one in front of the camera. And I signed to an agency really quickly just because I didn't have time to manage all the admin and the emails and the brand deal requests that were coming in. If you're a content creator thinking about signing to an agency, they just take all of the heavy lifting off of you, so you get to focus on doing the part that's important or the most fun to you, which is the content creating. When you sign to an agency, you can expect less emails, less admin. You don't have to speak to the brand anymore, which is a luxury because they deal with all of the communication, the contracts, the invoicing, whatever, and then all you get given is a brief, so you get to go away, create the content, send it back to them, and it just makes your life so easy. All I have to do is create the content and someone else does the boring stuff for me, and it's the best thing in the world. Anyone can be a content creator, but the reality is you have to put in a lot of hard work because it is essentially a business, like you become a business. So you need to have something unique and special and creative to offer to brands in order for them to want to collaborate with you. So if you're signing to an agency, don't expect brand deals to just fall from the sky. You still need to be putting in that hard work and appealing to brands in whatever way that is, whatever your niche is. And your brands are just there to aid the communications. They don't like fish out brand deals from the ocean. They don't come from nowhere. As soon as you sign to an agency, you won't be getting 10 deals every single month. I mean, you might. I think every creator, depending on your niche, kind of has their own calendar and like seasonal moments where they will get an influx of brand deals and then there'll be quieter months. And it's the same with kind of any job. For example, the Christmas season is usually quite busy for a lot of creators. And for me it's Ramadan, so at the moment springtime is very busy for me because that's my niche. And it kind of took me a while to realise that it's okay to not be busy for a couple of months and take that time to rest and continue creating content. So don't expect every single month to be so busy and that you're going to start making millions straight away, because you won't. Okay. Thanks for watching Meet the Creators with Handled. I'm Zaynah, and you can find me at Zaynah's Bakes on Instagram and TikTok, and you should also order my cookbook Desified. Available everywhere.